Hi, this is Daniel O'Connor. This video is aimed at organisations' key contacts, or the SuperUser. The SuperUser administrates their own system on behalf of the standard users in that organisation. What I'm going to do here is just take you through the various features of Warbit, which the administrator controls. So I'll log into one of the demo accounts. So here we are in Test University. When you log in, you get to a landing page, and this is your dashboard for how you control how Warbit performs. On the landing page, you see there's a summary of however many people are signed up, pending members if there are any pending members, and then the latest items that have been added. What I'll do first is I'll show you the main settings. So on the left hand side there's a menu. There's different features behind each one of these. You can also access them along the top as well. So settings really fixes how your portal performs. First of all, it's very important to customize your Warbit portal. You do this by uploading your own company logos. This is done inside the organization profile. So choose a file, large and small logos. You need a JPEG file, and of a resolution isn't so important because they're quite small, but you can, if you upload it, see what it looks like, and if it's not suitable, then you can upload others which overwrites it. Then just click save changes. That's the first thing you need to do. Now this part here, subscriber sign up, priority 1, priority 2 and priority 3, will make a lot of sense if you look at the other video entitled Warbit Overview, and it explains what this means. Basically, Warbit's primary function is to get maximum value out of your resources. So the more internal subscribers you have, the better, because you want to redistribute the resources inside the organization to get maximum value. So what you do is I'll provide you with an email template which you can send out, but basically your staff sign up to your portal at this address, obviously / your organization, and they use Warbit in that way. However, often resources need to be disposed of, and if you can't find homes internally, there's two things you can do. It either goes into storage, which I'll talk about in a second, or you can bounce the same information about your surplus resources to partners. And there's different levels of partners. There are preferred partners, that's called your Warbit club, and then there's the rest of Warbit, because if your resources are surplus, you don't want to pay for waste disposal, so you want to advertise them to other parties. So you can choose your priority 2 Warbit club members, that is your preferred partners if you like, and you can choose at what point before the deadline, which is fixed by your standard user as they upload the resource, what period before the deadline the information will bounce out to those other parties. So you can pick 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 days before external organizations get to hear about your surplus resources. Now this is just your priority 2 network, or your Warbit club, your preferred partners. Often, or well, in some instances, you might not be able to distribute resources to these people. They might not require them. So as a fallback, there's priority 3 as well, which is the rest of Warbit. So there's other people on Warbit system who will be able to see your surplus resources once it passes that deadline. Now you can choose that you never allow your resources outside of your preferred network, or again you can choose at what point before the deadline is reached that it becomes available to others. Now this part, bouncing information to other organizations, liability is a big part of that, and I'll explain that in a second. Now this feature actually overrides the sharing facility, because if you have storage, you can bounce your resources into storage using this facility. So when a standard user uploads a resource, they set a deadline. for when it needs to be when it needs to be moved from their room. Once the deadline's reached, if you've got some details in here, this will send an email to whoever manages your storage saying Joe Bloggs has got a chair in this office, he needs it moved, and then you can put that into storage, and this acts as a storage management system, and I'll show you a little bit more about that later on. Now what's important to remember is this feature here actually overrides any sharing. So if you just want to share stuff within your organization and you have storage, you can use the storage facility, but if you don't have storage, then you should be bouncing it out to your external networks, avoiding waste charges. Now, a standard user can upload usable resources, but they can also upload resources that need repair, refurbishment, or need disposal. At this point, you can drop in an email here, and the owner of that email will get notification when someone puts on something that needs to be disposed of. So it acts as a bulky waste management system. This feature is about personalizing the emails that bounce between claimant and contributor or standard users, and there's various emails on the system. There's different types. These two are when standard users sign up, so they get a welcome email and they get an activation email when the key contact activates the account. These 3 emails are messages between the contributor and claimant when items are put on the system or claimed, and these emails are more about the management of the system. Now you can put in your own information into these emails. These are templates that Warbit provides, but you can add your own local instructions should you need to. For example, on the claim confirmation, what a lot of clients are doing are adding their own internal facilities management or portal system, a link to it in this message, so that the physical transfer of resources can take place, or you can drop in information about how you actually carry out the physical transfer of resource internally. And there's loads of different opportunities here to get extra messages across to your staff. The bottom template that I provide, this is the transfer of ownership template that Warbit provides between the claimant and the contributor. So this has been written by a team of solicitors in Newcastle, and it's a legal document, but it's a template that I provide as a guide. You can add your own instructions in there as well, so you can add your own clauses, and it will always and then that will always be the terms and conditions of your portal. At any point you can reset the content back to the original template. So have a good read around this, because it's quite an important part of the site. Let's go back to settings. Yeah, another important part of Warbit in Warbit version 3.5, which we're on at the minute, we have a facility whereby you can actually limit the activity on certain waste types. So this is for electrical equipment. So if anyone ever puts electrical equipment on your facility, on your Warbit portal, you can decide what actually happens with it, whether the information and therefore the actual physical product goes straight to your weak contractor, or is just distributed within the organisation, or you're happy enough to distribute it within the organisation or to third parties, and so on and so forth. In the near future, we're going to be dropping in some extra facilities here whereby you can actually choose from a drop-down menu resource streams of interest, and you can decide where that information will go to. You can limit the activity on the site, that is. Finally, management reports. This is a really interesting facility. You can, every transaction on Warbit is monitored, so at any point you can interrogate the data. So let's take a data range for this portal. You can search different parameters, but let's generate a general report, and this details every single transaction that's happened, where it's gone to, what it was, what its various CO2 values were, and you can download this as a Excel spreadsheet, so you can interrogate it how you like, and do your own graphs and charts and whatnot. So you've got all the details here, total money saved, all that sort of thing. However, there's different. You can look at different things. You can look at who's using the system the most, what sort of items are being traded, and in this bit, as a quick overview, there's actually some nice graphs. You can monitor how much money is being saved, see who's carrying out the most claims. Obviously, this is important should there be any fraudulent behaviour. Most items listed, what the categories are, and that sort of thing. So have a play with that. So that's the settings bit. An important part of what bit, obviously I've explained, is linking up with partners. In this bit here, you can friend other organisations just like you do on Facebook. And once you friend an organisation, that means they can then see your resources when they become surplus. So I'm already friends with Northumbria Police. Let's see who I'm not friends with. So you send a request of partnership, that sends them an email, and they accept the partnership, and then the organisation can then see your surplus resources, and you can see theirs. Members. So you can view members, to see who's using your system, and you can also add members. So that's quite good. When you add a member, the first time they log on, they will be asked to abide by the terms and conditions, and they'll have to do with the check. They'll have to fill in a checkbox to make sure that they're going to abide by the terms and conditions of the site. Next bit. This is fairly obvious. You can add your item. I mean, you've probably seen the video about that already. If not, it's on the YouTube channel. This bit here describes all of the items that are traded on your site, on your portal. So these are the items that are active at this point. These are the items that have bounced into storage because you haven't got set up the sharing facility. So all these ones in storage, the person whoever looks after storage knows what's there, and actually these stay live on the system, so people can still claim them even though they're bounced into storage. These are items that have been disposed of, so that have gone through the recycling or refurbishment route, so they might be missing wheels or whatever. And here, this is all of the claims that have taken place on your system. So you've got claimed items and you've got collected items. The difference between that is people make a claim and it takes a few days to collect the item, and if they don't collect the item, they get a reminder email which they have to update the status of the resource, whether it's been collected or not. When they update the status, it goes into collected. And that's about it for the SuperUser. One important thing to note is the SuperUser can't actually claim anything on the site. So if you're a SuperUser, you will have to set up your own standard user account so that you can claim things, and that's an important thing to note. And that is about it really. If you've got any questions, just drop me an email or give me a ring. The details on the bottom of the site. Have fun. Bye.